How to analyze story elements. So we're going to practice analyzing how setting, events, conflict, and characterization contribute to the plot in a literary text. So we're going to describe setting. Nathan likes to play soccer at the park. He enjoys the open fields that allow him to have lots of room to run. When it is snack time, he can sit under the shade of the trees and relax. How can we describe the park? Lots of space, shady, relaxing. That is describing the settings. Describing the events. Describing the events are what are the events of the story. Let's look at this story, for example. Lucas woke up, looked out the window, talked to mom, decided to play before breakfast, made a snowman, made a snow angel, and built a fort. If we are describing the events in the story, we're looking at what happened in the story at the beginning, the middle, the end. If we look at the text, Lucas woke up, looked out the window, talked to mom would be what happened at the beginning of the story. Decided to play before breakfast, made a snowman, made a snow angel would be what happened in the middle. And built a fort with Kendra would be what happened at the end. This would be describing the events in the story, the beginning, the middle, the end. All right, let's look at describing conflict. Conflict is a problem that needs to be solved. So, once upon a time, there lived a bright and kind hearted girl named Emma. Emma had just started at a new school and was nervous. A group of classmates began to target her with hurtful words and pranks. Emma, who had always been confident and resilient, found herself feeling isolated and anxious. Emma gathered the courage to speak to a school counselor. The counselor helped Emma develop strategies to stand up to the bullies and educate the school community about the impact of bullying. Emma not only found her voice, but also inspired others to stand against bullying, proving that kindness and perseverance can change the world. So let's think about what is the conflict in this story. So again, what is the conflict? So if we look at back at the text, we can see that a group of classmates begin to target her with hurtful words and pranks. They're being unkind to her. That would be the conflict. She also found herself feeling isolated and anxious due to those friends being unkind to her. That would be the conflict in the story. That is the problem that needs to be solved. All right, let's look at describing characters. We refer to this as characterization. Characterization is when we look at character development that includes character traits, feelings, motivations, and responses to situations. We look at all of those pieces to figure out characterization. So let's look at an example of characterization. Julia loves to read about teachers. She wants to be a teacher when she grows up. She is very patient. Julia is a good big sister to her little brother Jonah. If we're describing this character, we're going to look at what words describe Julia. So we would say she is patient, she is a role model, she is a leader. But remember, we're not just looking at her character traits, which are these words, right? Patient, role model, leader. We're also going to look at her feelings, her motivation, and her response to different situations in a text. Let's describe plot. So what is the plan? So we're going to look at the beginning. This includes events that the problem the characters are facing. Then we have the middle. These are events that show how the characters are trying to solve the problem. And then we're going to look at the end. These are events that include how the characters solved the problem. So let's look back at that story that we read about Emma. If we look at the beginning of the plot of this text would be at the beginning, Emma had just started at a new school and was nervous. A group of classmates began to target her with hurtful words and pranks. That would be in the plot would be this is what is happening at the beginning. The middle would be Emma gathered the courage to speak to a school counselor. That would be what she's trying to solve that problem, right? This is showing how the characters are trying to solve the problem in the middle. And the end is going to show us how did she resolve that problem. Well, she developed strategies to stand up to the bullies and educated the school community about the impact of bullying. She found her voice and also inspired others to stand up against bullying. This is what happened at the end to resolve that conflict. But remember this standard, okay? The standard says that we need to analyze how setting, events, conflicts, and characterization contribute to the plot in a literary text. Remember, we're going to be looking at how the setting, events, conflicts, and characterization add to the plot. How does it contribute? How does it add to the plot in the literary text? So we have to take all of these pieces and see how they connect to the plot.